Hello and welcome to the newest episode of the My IGN Nintendo podcast, also known as Just Another Castle Podcast, or primarily known as Just Another Castle Podcast. With me today, we got Matt,
You.
who is Schmaganan, and then we got Mike.
Gatorade.
Okay, well,
We didn't pay. We didn't get
Mike.
product promotion. Don't do that.
This
You
is
gotta give us
not
money now.
this is not the Gatorade cast. This is
Gatorade.
all right.
H2O.
So we're here today. We missed a week because schedule conflicts, but we're back. And so as always, we'll begin with what we've been playing. So I have actually had a really, really productive 2 weeks, probably the most productive 2 weeks of gaming I've had in a long time. So I've been playing a lot of games. So I guess I'll begin with The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which I finished. Which I don't think I finished. I talked about me finishing the game, and I've got to say, man, I freaking love that game, like, so much. It's probably now number two or number three. So it's probably after Wind Waker in my favorite, best Zelda games in my mind. But it's probably number two or number three then. And man, I just loved all the side quests and all the storylines and all the extra stuff to do and the open worldness of the game. I mean, I already talked about this on the last podcast, but I just think it's so well made. I mean, the dungeons, it's kind of funny because I feel like the dungeons aren't the highlight of the experience. It's more the open worldness of the whole game. But the dungeons are solid too, with the exception of the Great Bay Temple, which is just shit. But I think it's a really solid game. Mike, what did you think about Majora's Mask? Because I kind of forgot. You've played through it, right?
Yeah, I hated it, and then I'm kind of fond of it, but it's like it's not top five. It's all right, Like it's a good game, but it's not amazing. Like,
I
eh.
was kind of talking about on the day that you were gone about how it's like a true open world game in my mind because everything's happening. And there's just so much going on outside of just you that made it seem like an open world game. And so many quests that you could really do in almost any sort of order you want. So I really liked it. Um,
I, I wouldn't say the quest you could do in any order you want. I mean, there's a lot of steps per some requests, and a few of them would require another mask. But I mean, it's just it ain't Ocarina of Time. It just ain't as good. So like its quests are mediocre and its story it's mediocre. It's just not Ocarina of Time. So when I play Legend of Zelda, not Ocarina of Time, I go, man, what would make this game good? Being Ocarina of Time.
all right. Um, the next thing I played was Tembo the Badass Elephant, which I wrote up a review for.
How
Um,
was that? How was
I
that?
I really liked it actually. I think I gave it an 8.5. And I liked it because it felt a little bit like Mega Man and Rayman mixed. Because like people said, it seems like Sonic, and I don't necessarily agree. Because he can run really fast, and when you're at full speed, it does feel a little bit like a Sonic game. But you're usually not at full speed. And I think I forgot which site it was. I think it was Push Square, which is a PlayStation website. They gave it a 5 out of 10 because they said it wasn't Sonic, and that was their
What?
complaint, is that you're not going fast the whole time, and they wish you did. And I'm like, sure, if you go super fast for the whole game, I still think it would be a good game, but it would be a different game. So I think what it's aiming for is everything is very deliberate. So sure, there are fast sections, but there are sections where you kind of have to stop and strategize and defeat enemies a certain way, and you kind of have to learn their attack patterns. And it really reminded me of sort of what I played at Mighty Number 9 at E3 and Mega Man, because you really have to learn these attack patterns, and there's a way that you can get through the game and just do really well by learning the enemies correctly. Um, and so that's what I really liked. And then the combat itself felt super fluid, almost in a Rayman sort of fraction. Just the way that you're, swinging the elephant trunk as a hammer and, bashing enemies really felt a little bit like a Rayman style, and so did the graphics. So that's why I really kind of liked Tembo. I know that there were mixed reactions. Some people liked it better than others. I think I've definitely liked it a little more than some other people I know. But, for a game that isn't Pokemon that Game Freak made, it turned out a little better than I thought it would.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like it's mixing and taking elements from a bunch of like other great games and like doing something different with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the I did have a few issues with the game, and like for example, number one, there are a bunch of collectibles in all the levels, and that's pretty cool. You can go and find all the enemies to defeat and stuff like that. But the problem is, at the end of each world, you need to have collected a certain number of collectibles in order to proceed to the boss,
Oh,
which is
that's
kind of
dumb.
annoying. Like I hate when games do that because I feel like collectibles should always be a side thing. And I know there are
Yeah.
people like Mike who are going to find every single one no matter what, whether it's required or not. But for me, I don't really like that sort of thing. And I would much rather it be like, well, you can find these if you want. But on the bright side, it's not like you have to find every single collectible. So the first world, the third world, and the fourth world, I could get to the bosses no problem. On the second world, I did have to go and replay, I think, two or three levels to get as many as I needed, which was a little bit of a nuisance. There are also leaderboards, which was pretty cool. This is the first time ever I've been third in the world at something, but to be fair, at that point in time, only 12 people had played that level, so uh, so I don't feel so proud about that. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think the game's solid. I think people will enjoy it. Let's see what else have I played. Oh, my game of the year so far. I played Ori and the Blind Forest. That game. Oh my god, it's such a shame that that is an Xbox One exclusive because I wish that every single person can go play that game. It's so good. Like I don't even know how to give it enough praise. It's like a AAA game, but not because the game is perfect in design. Everything is so well laid out. There's so many powers. Um, and it's kind of one of those things where you look at you'll look at a platform or something and you'll be like, man, I want to get up there to get this extra ability point or something. But in order to do it, I would have to execute this sort of maneuver. Like, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if the game will allow it. I don't know if this is the right way. And then you try it out and you fail and you fail and you fail and you get it right. And it just feels so good because you feel like you beat, like beat the game's mechanics by doing it in a certain way. That kind of seems outside of the orthodox realm of thought because it's just so I don't even know how to describe it because it's so good. And all these mechanics are so super good. Like there's a triple jump, not just a double jump, which is really cool. The game can get challenging. I probably died like 300 times. But it's not like a nuisance because since you can make a save point anywhere you want, it's not really a nuisance, to die. You just almost start off where you just were. Um, it's just I don't even like every Xbox One owner and your PC if you can run it. I don't know if you can or not. I would say pick this game up because it is so good and the soundtrack is good and everything. I don't know where to go.
What game
So,
again? What game?
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori and the Blind Forest. Got it.
It's a Xbox One exclusive, but it's also on the PC. So I guess it's not really an exclusive. It's a console exclusive, and it's like a platformer game.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen this. I've seen this before. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like a platformer, but it's also like a Metroidvania. So it reminded me a little bit of Guacamelee because you could, as you unlock powers, you can go back to previous areas to get a kind of collectibles and stuff that you couldn't before. Um, it
cool. It looks
it's
better than I thought it did because I thought um, just from the trailer it was going to be something like Limbo where it's kind of slow paced and you're just kind of moving along, which is fine because I thought Limbo was cool. But I didn't even know you get powers and different abilities and stuff.
Yeah, you get power. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Guacamelee, but it was even quicker than Guacamelee, and the combats. I mean, not combat, but platforming felt smoother. Um, I don't even know. Like every person, I feel like should play this game. It's so spectacularly designed. Just simple design.
Just the art
Uh,
style itself, it's like, oh my gosh, this game is
yeah, and
beautiful.
the
It
music
makes you want to
is
play it anyway.
and the music is beautiful accompanying it. It's like I look at the game and I play it and I'm like, how is this game made by 20 people, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and I looked through the credits. There's actually uh, in terms of developers, there was probably like 60 people in the credits, but only 20 developers. There was like 15 people in the orchestra, all the executives at Microsoft and stuff, but only like 15 or 20 developers, and that's kind of amazing. Um, oh, and the last game I played was Rocket League. It's free for PlayStation Plus members, really fun to play. It's just one of those games where I'm like, one more match, one more match, one more match, one more match, right? Um, and it's really fun. Oh, and the last one, I forgot. I'm sorry, I'm laying up on games, but I'm going to be gone for the next 2 weeks, so I'm just getting everything out of my system, I guess. The last game I played was Bastion. I'm almost done with it, and that game is also really spectacular. I mean, not Ori and the Blind Forest spectacular, but that's just like, but Bastion is really, really good. It's probably, I think, just as good as Transistor was, and Transistor was probably my game of the year last year. Unless Shovel Knight came out last year, I forgot if it did. Shovel Knight would then be number one. Um, it's really good. I recommend playing Bastion. It's on sale for $3.75 right now, I think, on PlayStation Network. Yeah, and that's my little long-winded, like 30-minute speech on what I've been playing. What about you, Mike?
Uh, I've been playing Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment for the Vita. I heard it's coming out for the PS4. The game's it's all right. Like honestly, I'm upset that I am playing it to be like I know I have to 100% it. It's not the best game, and the battle system is way too complex, and they don't really go over it. So like I'm still figuring crap out. I don't even know if I progressed to be honest. There's like two different game modes in one, and it's like what's going on kind of thing. So. I don't know. It's way too open and way. I like games that are open, but I don't like it like when it's like here you go, we plopped you in the world. It's like, dude, what? So it's all right. I would give it like a 6 out of 10 so far, even though I don't know if I'm in the beginning 5% or if I'm in like past that. I have no idea where I am. All right. Um, I beat One Piece Unlimited World Red, and then I just rebeat the main difficult story for the trophy. So I'm just gonna like do a lot of quests in Coliseum to platinum it out. That game was pretty good. I know it came out for the 3DS, Wii U, Vita, and I had the PS3 version. Um, the one thing with One Piece Unlimited World Red is I think it's kind of cool. Like its battle system is like it's not like the Warriors, like those One Piece Warrior Dynasty guns where you mash buttons. Like you actually like level up your like strong words and other abilities, and you always carry a 3-man team whoever you want anywhere. But like it gives you an exploration aspect where you can actually fish or like capture animals or get like a lot of like ingredients parts instead of just like doing the really like the levels aren't big. Like they give you the map for the whole world, so you can just run through things. So it's like a 20-hour game, you know. Uh, and then after some occasional Smash, and then I keep telling myself to play some other games, but Sword Art, I mean, I've been at work lately, so I literally I'll play Sword Art, be confused, go to sleep, and then go back to work. Yeah,
Oh, work. Ooh. Man, where do you work now? You're out of school, so where are you working?
yeah. I'm in the academy, so I have work like legit.
Oh.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I'm there from like 5 a.m. to like 5 p.m. or like stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty tiring, dude. That's why we're here on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, what about you, Matt? What have you been up to?
I finally got Splatoon for my birthday, so I've been playing quite a bit of
Splatoon.
that. Yeah. Um, where do I want to start? I guess, what was I gonna say? Oh, I guess I'll start with single player. So I finally, I just beat single player last night, and the final boss, while it kind of got irritating because I felt it went on a bit too long, is hilarious. Just in how goofy it is. It's like a squid is in some spaceship, like DJing his robot to like throw fists and other crap at you. He's just making all these weird music puns. I thought that was pretty funny. I wouldn't buy Splatoon for the single player alone because they're just really 2 to 3 minute quick levels, and there's like 5 worlds with 5 levels each, something like that. So I wouldn't buy it for that if someone was not thinking of playing multiplayer for some reason. But uh, I don't know. I really like it. I thought at first that 3 minutes was going to be too short, even though I played like an hour of the demo or whatever. Um, but it turns out it's like the sweet spot time. Like they must have really been playing it a lot to figure out that's the like best time available because even in a minute and a half or 2 minutes in the match, if one side is like dominating, that last minute can turn around and the other side wins. So it's like the perfect length because it's not like it's taking too long. What did I write here?
Get your shit together, Matt.
I know. Sorry, I wrote down all these things. And I forget how I phrased it. Whatever. It's the perfect length because it doesn't go on too long, but it's not so short where you don't get any satisfaction from it. It's the perfect length for you to be like, okay, this is quick, but it was also really fun, and I want to play another one, and another. Um, the unfortunate thing so far is that I've been unmatched, not unmatched. I've been matched with teams poorly, so one side will have like 3 level 20s and like a 17 or something like that, and my side would have like a 20 and a 15 and like an 18, and me is like a 4 or a 6. So it would be fairly unmatched, but once I actually got higher and the teams were actually matched properly, like equally, like it's so much fun because it doesn't feel like even if I'm the lowest out of all the like literally if I'm level 6 and everyone's level 20, like it's not that I don't have a chance at all. I have just as much of a chance as everyone else to win, and I've actually gotten more points than other people on my team somehow. I don't know how. I guess I'm paying more attention to the game or something. But yeah,
Well, I
like
feel like
even
people
if you're
play.
low level, like you're gonna have a bunch of fun. It's not gonna be like, oh, I have to work all these hours to start having fun because I'm losing. It's like, no, you can have fun like pretty much from the beginning. As long as your teams are evenly matched, like it's fair game. It's the only thing that sucks is that the whoever has higher levels has more like stats on their equipment, so they will have, more boosts. But other than that, like everyone pretty much has a fair shot.
But you can get, I mean, pretty much from level 5, you can get some pretty good equipment in terms of just unlocking more slots because it takes, I think, what like 3 games for you to get a new power on each piece of clothing, I guess.
I'm not
So
sure, but
it doesn't take super long if I remember correctly. I might
yeah,
not be remembering correctly,
yeah.
but I remember leveling up equipment relatively quick. So do you think one thing I noticed is when I played a lot, which I haven't played a lot in probably a month, if not more, is that I had a really, really good grasp on all the maps because there were only like 5 of them.
hmm
But what about you? Because now there's probably what, like 10 maps and 3 modes. Do you feel maybe overwhelmed, or do you feel like you know all the maps really well, or are there even some maps you haven't yet to play because of the rotation?
Yeah, there's definitely maps I haven't played yet, just because I've been focusing like mainly on single player. But it only takes a couple of matches, I think, to get a feel of the map and then figure out what kind of strategy you want to come up with. Like for one specific map, I know I'll go in one or two different places based on if someone else went there or not, and then try to maybe hold an area or just paint one area that no one else is going after, and then go for uh, like go in the enemy's territory or just fix whatever's left on our map or things like that.
Hmm. Do you what do I want to say? Do you feel like the game has enough content now to justify a buy because you bought it later than I have?
Um, I don't know, cause but when you played it, did they have weapons for every level?
Yeah, there were.
Okay, so I don't even know because all I know is that once you like go up a level, there's gonna be at least another weapon or two that you can play. So even just by that, it's like holy crap, there's a lot of weapons to choose from. And then I don't even know. Um, I know there's new weapons coming out, but what level are they, or how does that work?
I think they're usually
Just
like
random?
random.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
because I
I
think
think
that
I've seen
yes,
NES zappers at like level 5 or something.
yeah,
So yeah, I guess they just randomly toss them in somewhere.
yeah.
But I don't know. There's plenty of weapons. Looks like there's plenty of maps. Um, I haven't really tried any of the other modes. because
I
I
mean,
haven't gotten level 10 yet, so I can't play
oh, okay.
the skill matching one. But I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with just playing Turf War.
So here's a piece of news on Splatoon. They surveyed over nearly 4,000 Japanese players in Japan,
Mhm.
and they found out that 73% of players are playing as a female squid and not a male squid, and what 27% is a male squid. Does that surprise you at all? That's kind of interesting, huh?
No, the
Not
male
re-
squid is ugly. So
That's
yeah,
what everyone said in the comments.
yeah. No, I don't know. I don't really like the male squid, like the design of it. I mean, I get it. Like it's cool that his hair is tied up in a ponytail, sort of thing, and that makes sense. Like just the way his tentacles are.
yeah, I know. I heard they left
Whoa,
really sick.
Mike, you got
Mike's
some,
making a ruckus.
yeah, rustling some papers there,
Hopefully,
Mike.
do I get back safe? You know.
Any hope of getting together with your mom? Or not?
Mike,
I think that's Mike's mom.
Talk about it when I go
Hey,
down.
Miss Troy.
Talk about it later, right?
Oh wait.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yo.
you go. Okay. What were we saying? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I like the. I don't think the male design for the squid is that good. I mean, I get the his tentacles are tied up in like a ponytail, and that's kind of cool. But I don't know. I just prefer the.
Nah, he's just ugly, man. I play as a guy in every game, and I'm just like I don't want to play as a guy in the game I don't own. I was like, man, he's just ugly.
I don't know. I think the design of the female whatever inkling is cute. Just because like the hair, the tentacles coming down is like hair.
It
Just makes
fits
more
better.
sense.
It just fits better.
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
fits better.
Yeah. All right. So I think that'll wrap up our Splatoon talk, unless there ends up being news, which there very well might be.
Yeah, there
Might
is.
be. So moving on to news, we're going to begin as we always do with Amiibo News Hour, which is the most important part of our newscast. So first of all, Palutena is exclusive to Amazon, and if you're listening to this podcast and don't have her, you'll never get one because she went on sale on Friday, the 4th or something, the 24th. She was in stock for a very long time. The window was open for a whole 67 minutes, which is a very long time by Amiibo standards because usually these things are in stock for literally like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you were there and you knew about Palutena, you probably got her. I got one. She'll be arriving soon, hopefully.
Well, that's good. They actually. At first, when you said 67 minutes, I thought you were going to say that as a joke. But that's. Like, sure, it's not that long in reality, but yeah, by Amiibo standards, yeah, that's like a fair amount of time.
I mean,
It's
the
like they
good
tell
news,
you ahead of time what time they're going to launch them.
yeah,
And if
that's the good news. They told everyone she'd be available at exactly 2 p.m. Pacific time.
Mhm.
And so everyone that was there at 2 p.m. Pacific time to 3 p.m. Pacific time, 3:06 or whatever, you pretty much got one. So if you were there, if you knew about it, then you were set. It's more like, I guess, the moms and pops who are looking to buy for their kids who got a little screwed over, but whatever. Um, it's fine. I got mine.
At
That's what
least it's going
matters.
better now.
Yeah, I mean, things are going better. There was also, at first, rumor that there would be 100 units per store.
Mhm.
And it turns out that was just one store getting 100 units. Or I'm talking about Dark Pit now. I'm sorry. Dark Pit, which launches on the 31st of July, it's a Best Buy exclusive. And there were reports that they were getting 100 per store. That's not true, actually. However, now it looks like stores are going to be getting about 40 on average, which is still a lot of units. So hopefully anyone that's there at launch will get one from Best Buy. Unfortunately, I'm leaving to go to Europe on Thursday, so screw me because I won't be able to get a Dark Pit, which I guess is okay. I actually got an extra Marth, so I will try to find someone to trade a Dark Pit for a Marth. Hopefully. We'll see. So some other stuff here. In Europe there's gonna be a Super Mario Maker Wii U bundle. I think that includes an Amiibo. Not 100% sure, but there's a Wii U console and Super Mario Maker. We don't know if that's coming to the U.S. yet, but hopefully it will. The 8-bit Mario amiibo apparently will be coming to Europe on October 23rd. We'll probably be getting it around the same time. A Mewtwo amiibo was announced, but not officially. It's leaked by a South African retailer, the same one who has leaked like 10 other amiibo. So we know we're getting them. Finally, the Assassin's Creed cards.
Not what? Why'd you say Assassin's Creed? It's Animal Crossing.
Oh, Animal Crossing. I'm not thinking correctly.
Cleo.
So, Crossing cards, first of all, they're going to be sold in packs of 6 in the US, which is different from the rest of the world because Europe and Japan are getting packs of 3, not packs of 6, which is interesting. And in Japan, it looks like there's some stock supply issues, not enough cards. Great. Nintendo, you had one job. You made cards so that you could mass produce them.
It couldn't have been any easier for them to mass produce. It's a card with it. I know it's like holographic or whatever, but it's a card with a chip in it. If Pokemon can figure out a way to mass produce cards, like, come on, this is ridiculous.
But man, I don't think those cards are going to do well because I'm not going to be buying 50 packs to try to and trade with people to try to get them all.
Yeah, so people know it's a blind box, so you don't know what cards are in it, and there's literally 100 Animal Crossing cards. So
screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me. So Iwata related news. That's another section. Now, since we missed last week, some of this may be a little old, and I'm sorry. I am of the personal mind. I don't like drawing out all this news. Whenever a new news comes out about Iwata, it kind of irks me a little bit. I think it's about time. Like, yeah, we honored him. I think it's about time to move on. Because there's a lot more positive stuff coming in the future. I talked a little bit about this on the last podcast, but, Iwata wouldn't want us to dwell on his death for very long. He'd want us to look towards the future. And I think there is a time for memorial. I think, on his 1-year anniversary or whatever, or on the anniversary of his birthday, I think it's appropriate to look back on Iwata, but I don't really like a whole month, just drawing out of, and people not allowed to celebrate, stuff like that. But there is some related news here.
I only wrote it because it was we were supposed to record on Monday.
Yes, of course.
It's not just like, here's this person giving their memorial, and here's this, because, to be honest, everyone's done something, so, yeah, there's no sense putting it, but these are, like, somewhat newsworthy.
Matt did gather some really newsworthy stuff here. First of all, 3,000 people visited the funeral of Mr. Satoru Iwata. It was actually broken up into 2 days. And I think it was more than 3,000. I think it was like 3,000 on day 1 and then like another 1,500 on day 2 or something like that. I'm not 100% on that, but there were 2 days. Several people provided eulogies, well-known industry people in Japan. It was really sad. From the people that were there who saw Miyamoto, for example, they said that he just didn't look like his normal self. He looked distraught and just devastated. Yeah. So some little tidbits that came out of this. Iwata apparently asked for Seaman on the 3DS, but it got canceled, and it probably would have never really released in America anyway. Yeah. And then here's a little positive.
Just to clear it up, it didn't get canceled because Iwata passed. It was just
they
stopped working on it, and then the guy just thought he'd talk about it afterwards. Absolutely. Which I don't know why they would want to bring it back. That game's just freaky, but okay.
And then this other one, which is really awesome. So BitBoy Arcade and Puzzle Blocks. They're these 2 indie games. They're regarded okay. They're like probably 60, 70 Metacritic, so they're okay. They have a steep discount, like 50 cents. It's very steeply discounted right now in the eShop. You can get it until the end of the summer, and all the proceeds go to a cancer foundation, which is awesome. Like, the developer that did this is spectacular. I think that is incredible. So BitBoy Arcade on the 3DS, which is usually $7.99, will be sold for $1.20, and Puzzle Blocks will be sold for 50 cents. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a nice way of honoring him.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so it looks like you put together a bunch of games that were announced for Wii U. So first,
you don't have to go through all of them if you want, because there's other news, but
Yeah,
I put
I'll
that, and
just
then it got through. So you can. There's at least one
I'll
or two
just
that are interesting. Anyway, go
yeah,
on.
I'll just read their names. So Funky Physics, Year Walk, which is a weird horror game. Race the Sun, which is released already on Vita and PS4 and PS3, I think. Blaster Masters coming to the Wii U Virtual Console. And then Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 3 was announced for the 3DS. Now, this is the spin off Dragon Quest game. I don't think. I think the original came to the US, but I don't think the second one ever did. So I doubt the third one would. The games sell really well in Japan because it's Dragon Quest, of course. So that's understandable. Oh wait, you said the previous two entries did. You wrote. Are you
Did
sure
I?
the second one came over here? I'm not 100% sure that Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2 actually came out for the
I
U.S.
think I looked it up on Wikipedia. I don't remember now, but
All right, well I'll do a quick Google search. You might be right. I might be wrong. Um, some more news. Nova 111 is coming to Wii U August 25th, which is from a high-profile indie developer. I forgot which one though. You'll have to forgive me. Um, do, do, do. So actually, it does look like Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2 came out for the DS. So I misspoke. There was another game that didn't then. You were right, Matt. Star Wars is coming to the Wii U. Angry Video Game Nerd 2 Adventures 2 was announced. Dragon Fantasy is coming out, and that's kind of like that's like 8 games or something that are announced. There was a rumor that Mighty Number 9 retail release would be delayed, but that's not true. They clarified that was just a rumor.
right. I just want to say with Star Wall, I actually played a demo of it in class once with a friend. It's actually really fun. You're
Oh,
basically a
what is it?
narwhal with a horn, and you try to like hit the other person in the ass with your horn, but you have to like curl around them because they're moving around. It's just really weird. So if there's still a demo online, I'd say check it out because it's a lot of fun.
It's hilarious. Um, Miiverse Redesign is coming on July 29th. So what this is they're changing a lot of stuff here. First of all, there's going to be a 30 post a day limit. Before it was, I think, every 3 minutes or something like that you could post. So now you can post as many in whatever frequency you like, but you only get 30 per day. So that's a little different.
Some people were complaining about that, but that seems like a lot. Like, how many times do you post on Miiverse in a day?
Well, I think the problem was that they now have this play journal,
Yeah,
so you could chronicle your gameplay. And I think like a lot of people actually really like doing that. I had a friend that went through, or our friend, Game Guy 523 Anthony,
yeah.
who actually went through, I remember, and on the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, did that where he would caption different images at random times. I think he had like 50 or 60 or whatever.
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe people who really want to document their play sessions, that would be for them. Um, Honestly, I wish there wasn't a post limit, but I wish that there was that like posting every 5 minute limit.
Hmm.
But whatever. You can no longer post on your activity feed, but you will still have an activity feed. You'll just see everyone else's posts to different communities and stuff. I think that's about all the important stuff there.
So
China.
I
Oh,
was gonna
sorry.
say so for each community, it's actually divided up into 3 sections. So activity feed is or play journal is basically the same as activity feed. It's just replacing it, and you can add pictures and save your screenshots into an album if you want to do that. Um, so when you go to a community now, it'll be split into play journal, discussions, and drawings. So if you just want to see drawings, you can go to the drawing section, discussions, or play journal, which is captioned images. You can go there. So it's not just you scrolling and you see all this random garbage and you can't sort through it. It's going to be sorted for you now.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how this actually rolls out. As I think we've said on the internet, is that if they're updating this means I don't think Miiverse is going anywhere in terms of like their new system or platform
Hmm.
for mobile and stuff that they're developing with DNA. I don't think mobile is going anywhere. I mean, I don't think Miiverse is going anywhere. They're probably going to keep that around
Yeah.
if they're
Well, they put
continuing.
it on smartphones, or at least on the
Yeah,
browser, so they're
yeah.
definitely
Well,
not going to get rid of it because people are using it quite a bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This other thing, China has completely removed their console ban. Now, if you remember, they've this news. There was similar news about I think a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago,
Mhm.
that they removed their console ban in Shanghai. That was just one city, and I guess that acted as a test market. That actually released anything was Microsoft. They released an Xbox One, and that sold over 100,000 units in Shanghai. And so now they allow video games to be sold all across the country. Now, Nintendo is specific. At one point, they said that they would create a console just for China. That would be a lower cost alternative, like a Wii.
Mhm.
But they've since gone back on that, and they pretty much said they weren't going to do anything with China, which is a shame because I feel like that's a big market that has potential.
Hmm.
Do you guys have any thoughts on China? I don't know. It's kind of like such an unknown, you know. It seems like
Yeah,
such a big country, but there's so little in terms of games there in the Nintendo sense, you know.
yeah, I don't know. It's a hit or miss, really, because the only way people were able to bring their consoles to China was making a knockoff version of their own console, like the IQ basically replaced the Nintendo name. Like they had the IQ 64 and same, I think, with the DS or whatever. And I'm not sure how well those did, or if all the games were even compatible, or how it works. So I don't know. It could go either way. They're definitely not going to bother now since the Wii U's not doing well. But who knows with everyone else?
Well, I'm actually curious about something because there was a console called a V in China, which is a VII.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, and it was like an Android powered console, but it had motion controllers. And I'm just curious how that even performed. I don't know. It's probably not licensed or anything like that, but it would be cool to see. So now we have a big topic, Project Cars. Now I wrote up an article on this and made of two videos. One of them was very not well put together in my opinion, in the opinion of others. Um, and that was on my personal channel. Then on the Nintendo Enthusiast channel, I actually made I think a decent video. Matt, you called me out on one thing, but I think I fixed that one thing. But other than that, so Wii U, the Project Cars Wii U was canceled, and Matt put together an excellent timeline on his blog on pretty much the whole process. And I guess I'll just leave this to you, Matt, if you want to just summarize the whole timeline. Um,
Um,
for
sure. I'll just make it brief because it's really long. It goes from basically the end of 2011 all the way up to like a week or two ago when they canceled it. You can look for it yourself. Um, it's it looks intimidating, like long, but it's you really only have to read the article titles. But basically, in 2011 they released their first document saying we want to work on a game pretty much, and they didn't really give much details, even though um, the CEO later said, "Oh yeah, it was going to be free to play." It never said free to play on their 2011 or their 2012 revamped document. In 2012, they showed all their logos, saying what consoles it's coming to, and that it was well, yeah, that they were intending to release it on Wii U, PS3, 360, PC, blah blah blah. They started donations then, or yeah, whatever. They started their thing then, and I know they started at least in 2012 because in their 2011 document it said the World of Mass Development portal, which is their funding source, was launching soon, so it didn't launch. And then 4 months later, they said it did launch. So unless it launched in between there, whatever. It launched in 2012, and then they went on and collected money. And then in 2013, they gave all this hype for the Wii U, like, oh yeah, it's working great. It's better than we expected. It's running all these engines, or not engines. It's running all these different physics things and weathering. Um, and then they kept delaying it a couple times, and in September 2014 they said, yeah, we're delaying it again, but there's nothing wrong with it. We just need to delay it to polish up a few things. And they were really adamant about that. They're like, there's nothing wrong. We just need to polish it. That's it. And then 8 months later, in May, when they released the other versions, they're like, yeah, it's not running so well. And then like a couple of weeks later, they're like, yeah, it's dead. Um, so I also posted it to Reddit and got some other people uh, their perspectives on it, and I thought maybe perhaps they like, I don't know, worst case scenario, they switched an engine at the last second and that's why it couldn't really run. Um, but apparently, one guy thinks, or the running theory is that they just didn't have time for it, and Bandai Namco, who's publishing it or partnered with them at the time or whatever, didn't see any potential and then dropped it. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much what I got from it.
Now, although I think that is plausible, I guess we should clarify a few things first. So, what my video was about wasn't necessarily that Wii U owners didn't have a right to be vexed or irritated by the cancellation of Project Cars for the Wii U. It was more that, people were Nintendo fans seem more mad than the backers themselves, saying that there should be a class action lawsuit and that the developers are frauds and should be sued for lying to everyone and all
Well, the
this sort
thing
of.
is, they started not too long after. Well, when they launched their document and said these are the consoles it's coming to, it's like that got people excited. But when they started hyping it up a lot, like they didn't even talk about the other versions all that much. There were all these articles about the Wii U version, like hyping it up and all these different ways to use the gamepad. And then after all of that, then they had to stop taking funding. And in that, like, what was it, 9 to 17 month period, something like that, that they could have gotten money from Wii U owners. Like, I think it's plausible a lot of Wii U owners backed it, and then they're like, what the heck? Like, I paid to get this game, and now I'm not getting it. I'm pissed off.
Yeah. So what I was talking about is the Project Cars was actually not funded on Kickstarter. And as Matt brought up, it was funded on the World of Mass Development, which is a proprietary platform that Slightly Mad Studios set up. And it's not so much of a crowdfunding platform as it is an investment platform. And the reason I say that is if you read their docs, they call people investors or team members. They don't call them backers; they call them investors. And so, as part of this plan or crowdfunding plan, 70% of the funds are actually returned to the backers. The developers only keep 30%, which is rather interesting. So what I found out through reading this this document was, and this is viewable for anyone, you just have to go on their website, is that if you invested €50, or I'm not sure if it's euro or pounds, I don't remember. I think it was euro. If you invested €50 and the game sold 250,000 units, then you'd get €55 back in a PC copy of the game. So you'd come out €5 in net gain. But if the game sold 1 million units, which it did by June 1st within a month of being out, then backers would get back €240. So essentially that's almost €200 in profit, which is a lot of money. And so even if someone wanted a Wii U version of the game and backed the project and didn't get a Wii U version of the game in the end, they still came out at least $200 in profit, which is really good. Like, I think I would be okay with that, So that's something that's really interesting with Project Cars. The other thing which I brought up in my video and not in my article is that after doing a little more research in that initial document is that although the game was announced for the Wii U and the 360 and PS3, they never really called it official at the very beginning. If you look at the document itself, it was under goals. So they had a page where it was goals. And under goals it said PS3, 360, Wii U, PC. But then it also said 1 million plus in sales, 90 plus Metacritic, right? So in that way, that's kind of what I used to justify my point that, yes, this game was announced for the Wii U, and its logo, the Wii U logo was on all the videos, which is true. But the developers from day one said that things could change, and they said anything could really change based off of people in the forum or even their own need to change something. So that's what I was talking about in my video, and that's why if you look under their goals page, that's what I talked about. Like the Wii U was a goal platform, and it was announced that way. So that's why and I understand, as Matt said, why people would be mad because they hyped it up for so long, specifically the Wii U version. Um, but but yeah, I was kind of looking at the other side of the story.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think that's kind of big news because the Wii U, as it is, has not gotten a real racing game, since Need for Speed launched. And if you don't count Mario Kart, because that's a kart racer. So there's a bit of a drought on that end, and pretty much any end that isn't Nintendo supported, unfortunately.
Well, I think you said, that was their goal or whatnot to launch it on these platforms, but they did already say they were working on those platforms. Like, they even
Yes,
said
yes,
themselves, like, we're not developing it on PC and then porting it to everything else. We're working on all of them at the same time, uh, and all that.
yes,
So they were always working on it from the beginning. And
yes.
I read, someone posted on my Reddit version that they did have footage and images at one point. Apparently, I think they're gone now because of whatever, but it was running at one point. So
But I think they have, since that one point. I think they had upgraded the game because you saw that the developer said that they used like 99% of the GPU, 95% of the CPU of the PS4, and who
I
knows
don't,
if that's true or not? Like maybe it's not.
I haven't
Uh,
I haven't heard that. Maybe just because I was on Nintendo sites, or I was going off of Nintendo posts and then where the sources are from that. But September 2014, they said, "Oh, we're just having one delay, and we're just going to polish it, and it's working fine." And then the next time they actually update us is it's canceled. So I don't think that they actually changed anything like that late into the game.
Well, okay, first of all, pasting right here. That's the article. But pretty much, in fact, I heard that there were issues with the Xbox One version of the game, even because the Xbox One couldn't pull the game through by a power level. It's still getting patched and stuff, which I think is interesting. So what I was arguing too is that had the game came out for the Wii U, it could have damaged the reputation of Project Cars as a franchise, more than it has by just not releasing it. And they're looking to crowdfund the next game. They're looking to make this a franchise, and by releasing a terrible version, that would maybe hurt their future prospects in the game.
I don't know. I think they've done enough lies to hurt themselves because they also said, "Oh, we don't want to just uh, make this one copy and then keep making more and more and whatever. We want to make this game a platform that we constantly update." And then they're like, "Yeah." Like 2 weeks after the game launches, they're like, "Oh, okay, we want to fund the next one." Okay, well, what happened to that whole platform thing?
Yes.
So I don't know. I'm with all the things they've said and what I've read and gathered information on. I'm not really gonna trust what they say at face
Although
value.
I'm curious how much of it is Bandai Namco, pulling strings in the back.
Yeah, I think that seems more likely that Bandai Namco is like, yeah, you know what, this isn't gonna. You're having problems, and we don't want to spend more money for you to try to downgrade it a bit or whatever to try to get on there when people aren't gonna buy it. So just scrap it. That seems like what happened to me.
All
But
right.
I think we've talked enough about that.
Yes,
And
yes.
we can finally lay that to rest and not update it because I've been talking about it for like the last year or whatever.
Yes. Um, Matt, Mike, do you have any thoughts? You haven't said anything in a little while.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about Project Cars, so I was just listening to you guys. I was like, oh, that's that thing that I don't care about. So I was like,
All right, all right.
Project Cars. And my first thought was like, is Disney making this? And I was like, no, it sounds like some indie crap. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And that's it.
So now I want to move to Devil's Third,
Oh gosh.
which I think, Mike, were you the one that said it would be a terrible game? I feel,
I mean, with the name Devil's Third, I mean, come
okay,
on.
so I think that's what Mike said at one point. He's probably right. Um,
Doesn't Flea really want that game though?
I
I
think so.
think maybe so. There was a lot of issues. We didn't know who was publishing the game in the U.S. because the Europe and Japan got a release date, but the U.S. did not, which is super weird. For a long time, we thought that Xseed was publishing it, and it was like we were really sure it would be Xseed publishing it because, first of all, we had several people that we had talked to in the industry. That were saying it'd be Xseed, Siliconera
Hmm.
and this guy named Tamaki from Unseen 64, who's got a lot of contacts, saying it'd be Xseed. And even I sent an email to a guy I know at Xseed that I met at E3 saying, "Can you tell me anything about this?" And his response was like, "Well, I can't tell you anything because I don't want to get in trouble. So maybe you should, contact our department for that." Our press department. So I mean that even sounded cryptic. Like I want to tell you about it, but I can't, right? Um, and so Nintendo came out. They said they would be publishing the game. Interestingly enough, there will be a free to play version on PC.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be just multiplayer, not single player. But the interesting thing is that you know previews came out for the game, and they were not great. I talked to I don't know if any of you guys know of Don Koopman,
Hmm.
who's Ten Dan.
Yeah.
I was talking to him, and he posted his preview, and he was pretty much saying that the game is not that great at all. And then, so I'm friends with Itagaki on Facebook because for some reason he friend requested me. I don't know why. But he posted pretty much saying the reason why I was getting bad previews was because people were bad at video games, um, which I felt like was not a good excuse. Um, so the game looks rough. I'm interested to see how the multiplayer pans out because I was watching the multiplayer trailers and it actually looked pretty cool. So maybe, just maybe, the multiplayer is going to be okay, and then the single player is just going to be crappy.
Yeah.
And in that case, that could be pretty cool. It's going to be 16-player multiplayer online, 30 frames per second. Reportedly, although according to the previews, it is not 30 frames per second. It's like 18. Um,
Yeah.
and then no voice chat because apparently it takes up too much bandwidth, which makes me think that maybe this is a Nintendo issue at this point and not just the issue of, Valhalla Studios. I think it might be a Nintendo thing. I'll be curious to see whether the PC version is voice chat, because if the PC version is voice chat, then I think it's Nintendo's fault.
Probably. It never seemed like that interesting of a game, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see. It's because the Wii just doesn't have any first-person shooters, or third-person shooters, whatever Devil's Third is. I don't even know. so, so that's interesting. Splatoon might get a level increase. Now, the best quote from the interview that this happened in was, "We're actually really worried about these people. We're worried that they're still sleeping and eating." Because they didn't think that people would get to level 20 so quickly. This is actually not the first time they said something like this. I think about a month ago they had an interview where they said pretty much the same thing, uh, which is kind of funny. Some more Splatoon news. 75% of Splatoon players apparently play with motion controls, which blows my mind. I mean, I understand that, a lot of casual players might prefer motion control, but dual stick is so much better. I don't get it.
Uno Clay seems to really like it.
Well, I'm sure Flea does too.
Yeah.
Doesn't Flea have the gold?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
nuts. More.
oh my god.
I don't know. I tried the motion controls, and I might have liked them if they didn't screw up the right stick. So on the right stick, you can only look left and right, and on the gamepad, you have to move it to look up and down. So if the right stick was let me move in any direction, and then I could use the gamepad to move slightly, I might be willing to try it that way. But because they kind of they screwed up or whatever, hindered the right stick, I'm not even gonna bother. It's just really awkward to play with for me.
Well, the other thing is, I really liked. I mean, I had no problem with the motion controls. I actually kind of like them, but they're not competitive.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like you can't play competitively in Splatoon with them. It's just much more effective to play without them. You know.
Yeah.
Splatoon is going to get more DLC after August, apparently, but and no plans for paid DLC, which is really cool. I guess they'll finally be releasing downloadable content as opposed to stuff that was already on the disc. There's some quality of life patents, but I don't know about these well enough to talk about them. I don't know, Matt, if you're experienced enough in this.
I don't know. It was really cryptic. There's like a phone and a docking station, which is okay. We've seen that before. It kind of makes sense. Somehow it detects your emotions based on like what it sees and what it hears. I don't know how it sees like I don't know. You're just sitting there. I guess it's supposed to monitor you rolling around or something. I can understand sound like your breathing patterns. I don't know how it'll whatever work on looking at you. It projects some information on the ceiling, and then there's an image where a tablet wirelessly connects to the Wii balance board for some reason, and there's no explanation for that. So I don't know. It's just really random. Just wait until the gosh dang thing comes out, because this doesn't answer questions.
Yeah, that is rather weird. Uh, but I guess I think they said 2016 is when they would be releasing something for their quality of life or speaking more about it. So
Hmm.
probably in the next 6 to 8 months we'll hear more about it. Um, there's a rumor that Universal Studios is creating a third park just for video games, and it's not just going to be Nintendo. It'll have Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon rides, but it will also have rides like World of Warcraft and even other games, which I think would be really, really awesome.
Hmm.
So TV, we TVII will be closing on August 11th. I'm sure that the 6 people that use it are completely devastated.
Yeah.
Um, but for the rest of us that never use it and have no idea what it even is, uh, I don't care.
You had to add multiple streaming subscriptions, which was the first thing. And because it only worked in the United States because Amazon Video and all the other. Okay, so basically all the streaming apps that you could have on your Wii U only work in the US, and everyone else just had Netflix. So it's useless.
Great day for the Mets. This is the first time in 10 years.
Mike?
Man, Mike's getting screamed at over there.
What?
You're getting screamed at by your mom.
Nintendo TV though, man. That's what I'm about. I used it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Not lying. So I'm so not lying about this. I was like, this is a great idea. Yeah, I feel like it was too complex to use, and then I heard it just doesn't work in Europe because there's too many licensing issues.
Yeah.
Because Europe is Europe and it has too many countries and stuff. So they're like, yo, you guys aren't as good as America, so no TV for anybody. That's the way I looked at it.
So here's something really interesting. I didn't know anything about DigiPen, but apparently there's this. This was a really big deal. Nintendo and DigiPen have launched a brand new game studio in Singapore. So Nintendo has all their game studios that they own, like Retro and Monolith, and EAD Tokyo and Kyoto, and they don't own Next Level Games, but that's pretty much just almost like they're owning it. So now they have another studio, DigiPen. They're to make downloadable games on the Nintendo 3DS eShop, and they're planning to make 10 by next year, which is a lot. I can't
Yeah.
expect. I don't understand how one studio can make 10 games in a year.
It's probably just a group of like 3 or 4 developers.
So it's like a university or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of groups. I don't know. We'll see. It's just really interesting because this was a big deal for a lot of people, and I couldn't really understand why until I read into it a little bit more. And I just hope that they produce good games instead of I'm sorry, RC Maniacs' Block Drop U and
Sure.
Flappy Bird or whatever.
Yeah. So DigiPen is most notable as like the best university to learn about making games. I'm not sure how their Singapore location fares because I know their main location is somewhere else in the U.S. But regardless, it's still a good partnership. I've kind of been jealous because I've seen those Japanese students make a couple of games, and I really wanted to try that one where you're in the classroom and you're passing notes because that seems I'd pay $5 for that because that just seems so awesome, and it'd be perfect for a WarioWare game. So the fact that they're partnering with this school and we'll probably actually be able to play them is neat, as long as they're like as interesting as those.
Hmm. I'm curious. The other thing, Nintendo itself holds every year kind of its own little game development class in Japan, and usually about 4 games are made every year, and they're available to download for free in Japan. I don't understand why. Oh, you just talked about that, didn't
Yeah,
you? I'm an idiot. I'm just speaking, and I'm like, wait,
yeah.
wait a sec. I'm not thinking correctly. I'm too sleepy. Thank
Yeah.
God I'm going to Europe. Matt's taking the load of this for next week. Yeah, so you're right. I'm just stupid.
The reason they don't bring them here is because they would have to translate them, and that costs money. And then why are we spending money on this if we're not charging
But
money for it?
I feel like a lot of those games don't really have that much localization
Sure.
requirements. Let's see. Nintendo of America has partnered with Facebook to create Super Mario Maker levels. So Facebook employees are going to compete, um, and that's kind of cool. Like they're probably going to advertise the levels, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It'd be cool if they post it on like Facebook, like an advertisement in people's feeds. Because if they do that, then they'll get a lot of publicity. And I can't imagine why they'd partner with Facebook if they didn't do that. But it's still cool nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah. I think it'll be cool because Facebook people are probably very creative people.
Oh yeah,
So,
totally.
I
Oh,
think that's
never mind. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all the important stuff here. The one last thing I guess I think is of import here is apparently the Electronic Sports League (ESL) is going to begin drug testing of their players because they have found that people who have taken Adderall will heighten their reaction times. Now, this is kind of sad, but so when I was in high school, so long ago, as in 3 months ago, um, I was in this program called IB, which is it's like AP. So we would pretty much take college classes in high school, and the kids. I think Adderall was probably the most prevalent drug there because
Gosh.
kids would have to stay awake up all night to get all their stuff done. So I'm actually really familiar with Adderall. I've never taken it, but I think that's really funny that this is actually an issue. You've got in regular sports where they test for steroids or like or weed or anything like that, and then in ESL they got a test for Adderall, which is like a nerd drug.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was talking on another podcast I'll talk about after, and they're basically like, "You're crap." How did they word it? I'm really bad at this. Um, it's like you're an official esports tournament. You're getting drug tested.
Yeah, it's kind of that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is where we'll finish off for today. We are going to I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to be gone next week. Mm,
You really are
I'm
tired.
bad with
You're like, dude, blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah. I don't know where I'm going with my life. I've been playing too many games recently. Not enough sleep.
Wait a second.
That's
You
why.
had little sleep, but you got our names correct. So does that mean you have to be tired every time?
Yeah, that's it. Maybe 5 hours of sleep is something I should embrace.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks. Matt's gonna be in charge. Matt, I really hope that it's not just you and Mike. I hope that Flea shows up and we get some good amount of people.
I'll see if I can
You know,
get some guests or something.
yeah. I'm gonna be going to Gamescom. I don't think Nintendo's gonna have anything there that wasn't at E3, so I'm not really gonna have anything to talk about. But whatever, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna go party because drinking age there is actually normal, um, and not 21 like it is in America. Stupid America. Um, where you can find me. I'm in my bed because I need to go to bed. But also on Twitter at Paul Salon. You can find me on Nintendo Enthusiast rating articles and stuff. You can find me on my personal YouTube channel, Nintendo Network 64. Just don't watch the last video I posted because it's terrible. What about you, Matt?
All right. I just want to say crap. I was gonna say, Pokemon tournament is coming to Dave and Buster's, so it'll actually be available in the North America to play, which would be pretty cool.
That's important news.
Yeah. And Namco wants people to speak up if you want a new Baten Kaidos game. I don't know anything about it, so I can't really say any more, but if you really like that series, tell Namco that you want it, because they're listening apparently. So as far as where you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube under the Mango Viking. And besides the Project Cars encyclopedia, I was actually on the Nerd EXP podcast this week. We talked about Street Fighter and some other stuff and the drug usage. But it was really fun, so check it out there. Chris is a cool guy.
All right. Well, he's on here all the time, so
Yeah.
I think people know how cool he is. Cool dude. Yeah, I really need to go to sleep. All right, Mike.
All right, guys. Mike Troy Filibuster, Twitter and Twitch, Super Nintendo Bros on YouTube, and I think on my IGN. I forget. I haven't been on there in forever. Yeah.
Nobody's been on my IGN recently
Yeah.
because it's broken. Thanks,
Oh.
IGN staff, for breaking it. You suck.
Yeah, I think these are things I didn't know, but yeah. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip side, know what I'm saying? And my birthday's next week, so yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Eli, be safe, man. Enjoy vacation.
All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.